Welcome to Content Chaos with George and Call, a weekly podcast diving straight into meaningful conversations about navigating modern life. Using their weekly review framework, they explore personal growth, professional insights, and cultural observations. No fluff, just authentic dialogue that transforms chaos into clarity.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to episode 47.
Wow, 47. That's crazy.
I know.
I just heard in yoga class that there's a new moon, a new Cancer moon. I have no idea what that means, but I know my friends who are Cancer horoscope sign have been having birthdays. We have another big birthday coming up. So it's Cancer season. And I like the Cancer star sign. I really love people who are Cancer star sign.
I'm one. So
I know. And and a little cameo, or not cameo, but just fact, is that on Tuesday, tomorrow, July 14th, would have been my father's 80th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, he would have been 80 if he had lived, but he passed away in 2009.
Oh.
So, yeah, happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So let's start off with what went well over the past week.
All right. I have a prop. There we
Oh my
go.
God. See? This is why I love you.
It's,
You're with props. Yes.
I'm not going to leave it on the whole time, but
Okay.
this week, it really dawned on me that, Wimbledon, we went through a couple weeks of Wimbledon, but this was like the quarterfinals, semis, and then finals. While the World Cup, we moved through the quarterfinals, and it was just a really global thing.
Yes.
And Americans, the USA is prominent in all of that. A U.S. Teenager won the boys teen Wimbledon championship. And we, for the first time, we really didn't have a shot, but it felt like in Wimbledon there were 5 men who might have had a shot and really didn't.
Yeah.
The women's tennis was so much fun to watch, and a new now I forget her name, but a brand new, like, 21-year-old Czech woman won. And she was also the type of person, like, when she would speak, that you could really get behind. Yannick Sinner won the men's, which he was supposed to, but he was really challenged more by Zverev than anybody thought he would be. That was really fun. So it was just really a global thing, and Maeve's been into the soccer. So that just felt really good. I'm going to have like a sports themed podcast episode in all our segments today. But so
Okay.
I just feel like that's been fun to watch and enjoy, and feel like we're a part of the world in ways that are not geopolitical, So,
Yeah. And that are not awful. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
about
Oh,
you?
that's so good. Okay, so what went well? I would say we successfully repainted Maeve's room. So
That's
like
right.
the goal was there's many reasons to do this ourselves. Foremost among them, planning projects, having a budget, going to the hardware store, and this is how much we have, and this is how we, figure out what to do, and where is it better off to spend your money, and where do you take little shortcuts here and there. And also just physically, like, having her work, and so it's done, and it was worth it. We bonded, we learned. I watched some terrible TV shows that she likes. Can't remember their names. But that was really good. And then the other so I just want to highlight some, like, positive they content and experiences from people I know. So the first one is, because I just came from there, Sana Yoga which I always talk about, but it is my yoga home in New
Uh-huh.
Providence. There's a studio in Union, and it's just a very unique approach. It's heated yoga, but it's a true community. There's so many different kinds of teachers teaching different kinds of yoga, and they have all kinds of music, and just the owner and the people are just the best. So that's number one. Number two, um, and then number two is a podcast that a friend from grad school wrote and produced. His name is Brady Huggett, and it's called When Autistic Kids Grow Up. And it's a fascinating bit of scientific research, journalism about how autism, which we all know is growing, um, is not getting investment, research investment, and most of the research just goes on children. But these children are being born at a more rapid pace, and they grow up. So we need mechanisms for how to handle this stuff in society. And I think he just did it in a really effective way, telling the story of this one researcher and her son, and it was just excellent. So it's called When Autistic Kids Grow Up. Then the last thing,
I
it's
couldn't do it for one and not,
yeah,
the other.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Brady Huggett. The Transmitter is the name of the publication.
Okay.
But you can find it on all the podcast platforms. And then the third and final thing, this one is so interesting. So I don't even think I told you about it, honey, but one of my students was a co-producer of a film called Am AI. Okay, so it's on YouTube. You could go look it up right now. It's called Am AI,
Okay.
which from a marketing perspective, excellent title alone, because I could I could remember that and articulate it to you, and it's very easy to look up. But these kids, I say kids, they're NYU Tisch students, filmmakers, and I think graduates, but it's a documentary about the forward momentum of AI, and it was really well done, and the core kind of tension or worry was that, if do these AIs that we're creating have uh like, do they have feelings, and if they do, are we kind of like recreating the original sin of slavery over again, um and creating like hell on earth for these uh beings, whatever you want to call them. So it was very interesting. And in addition to that, they marketed like such geniuses. So they only had 50K that was their campaign. That's all they had to promote their film. And they had the genius idea. There's some podcaster who's like the number 2 podcaster after Joe Rogan. Certainly not one that I'm going to be listening to, or you. Probably most not of our audience. We're not in the demo for them. But anyway, Milo, the f- the he, I don't know. He's one of the main director or whatever. I'm probably mangling it, but he wanted to get on that podcast. And so what he did was he took the 50K. They went to all these agencies. The agencies were lame. They were like, we can't do anything for that little amount of money,
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to blow my wad on meta ads that nobody's ever going to see. So he bought a billboard outside of the studio of this podcaster in Austin, and
Oh,
he put the guy's face on the billboard and like wrote like Am AI, and the guy like, looked it up and had him on his podcast. And,
wow.
so like that was just such a renegade move. It was just brilliant. It was just absolutely brilliant. So I love the creativity of younger generations. They're not locked in this old advertising ecosystem, prestige. the standard old-fashioned way of doing things. They do it their own way, and I think it's amazing. It's called Am I AI? So, sorry, I went a little long. So, yeah.
That's
Okay,
all
so
right.
what went well? What could be better?
Um, so I have a little story to tell that sort of synthesizes, what I think could be better.
Okay.
So, and it has to, like I said, it's a sports themed for me,
All right.
sports themed day.
Yep.
Um, we go to our local tennis club. I'm not going to mention any names because because it is local and I don't want any
Yeah.
connections made. So I don't think I've ever lamented on the podcast before about like youth sports and parenting. Actually, we have with those parents that were really
Oh, yeah.
ridiculously rude at the
Soccer.
soccer
Yep.
game. But there's another thing that really bothers me, which is just the whole way youth sports around us has just been. It's just partly it's a business that's just been developed to like any business to just drive bigger margins and bigger fees, and that plays right into these like alpha parents who think their kids are going to grow up and be D1 sports phenoms. And some will, but it's generally not because of the money that was spent on them. It's because they have these, in these skills and this desire. You can't hold those kids back. You can
Mhm.
only help them on their path, right? Anyhow, that being said, this was so crazy. So one of the coaches, the tennis coaches, is like we come up from the courts are downstairs, right? You go downstairs to the courts, and so at the end you come up. At the end of the cardio days on the weekends, it's in the morning. We finish. The grown-ups are all coming up, and all these cute little kids are coming down for their little youth clinics. And there's this one little girl. Now, I don't know exactly how young she was, but young enough so that she's the kind of kid who, in a public place surrounded by grown-ups and other kids, she's like standing there, like twisting her hair and just like gibberish, blah, 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 like, yelling it out, just, she's thoroughly enjoying herself in her own little world.
Yeah,
And
good.
we could all hear her, and she's the cutest little thing, right? And the dad is there talking to the coach saying, I want you to get her up to speed for September. Okay, remember, September, she's got to be up to speed. And the coach, I'm not going to mention names, is just like, Okay, yeah, all right. And like asking, like, where did she play? What was the level last season? And he had all the answers. I didn't stand and listen. I kept walking. But it's like, this poor kid who's this like spirit who like coming up the stairs made me smile and
Oh,
kind of laugh to
yeah.
myself is like has and I know this coach, like she's not a soul crushing kind of coach, but
Yeah.
that's what it made me think. Like, like, just why would you do this to this kid? And it bothers me. And we see it over and over again, but it was like a skit out of a sitcom, like the
Yeah.
little kid, "Blah, blah, blah," and the parent, like, this kid's got to be up to speed for September with the tennis. And it's
Oh,
like,
God.
I think the kid wants to play. I think that's what that kid wants to
Yeah.
like, maybe go outside and just play. Anyhow, that I felt like that typified so much of what could be better. And I have more on this and what I learned, but that's for later.
Ooh.
More, yeah. And because I was simultaneously learning these things, and then this happened, and I felt like, okay, this is like, oh, of course, these global sports are happening. People are talking about this stuff. But anyhow, I'll leave it there and come back to it. But
Yeah.
how about you?
You're reminding me of, the guy on Instagram, PE guy? He's like one of my favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
like the dad kind of guy, the
He's the guy who makes fun of all the private equity people, and he
oh,
recently
that guy.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
did one recently on Summit, and
Yeah.
I actually found out he, like, used to work for the Ellen DeGeneres show, and he's a very interesting he's doing something very cool, but he's definitely had bits about, like, these alpha parents in their sports and, well, Tarantino has his club lacrosse, blah, 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 like, the
Yeah.
kid's named Tarantino. Um, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I mean, it's just losing the plot. Like, it's just losing the plot. It's for them to move and to learn values and not to compete. I mean, my god. But anyway, okay, so that's we're in what could be better, right?
Correct.
Shoot. Oh, okay. I do remember my what could be better. So my could be better is, I was nursing a grievance. So I love you know what it is, and I'm not gonna mention it, but, I love Larry David, love him, love him, love him, and part of why I think he is this global phenomenon is because we all have petty grievances that are in our minds, but we don't usually articulate them. And he kind of made it okay. Like he put it out there, and then we had Seinfeld and then Curb and like he took this like these voices that are in his head of like
Mhm.
grievance, turned it into something wonderful and hilarious that people could laugh. Um, Unfortunately, most of us don't have the talent that Larry has, and these things just go on in our head and these resentments. And so I had an experience that just really pissed me off, activated my ego, and I like came home and told you, and I told Linda, and I was like all, festering over it. And finally, I'm glad I realized like I was being aggrieved over something so stupid. Who cares? Like, it's just not the amount of energy it took for me to, number one, be offended. And then number two, to like go into this whole spiral. I mean, it was just so dumb. And then I listened to a podcast by Michael Singer talking about, you know, the main thing is you want to change who you are, you want to change and let go of all these things. It's the little things. It's like not getting mad at the weather, not getting mad at someone in traffic, not getting, activated by PE guy, or whoever it is. Like we're human beings. We're going to be activated, but just me watching myself get all bent out of shape over something so dumb. So that could have been better, but I'm glad I got awareness. Okay, last one. What did you learn?
What did I learn? So, keeping on with my sports theme, and this is more on the youth sports side of things. So, the two things I talked about, the World Cup that's still happening now, and Wimbledon. So, both soccer and tennis come into this. All right. So, I saw this fascinating video by this person. Oh, I don't have his name. Anyhow, I did my own research to validate it all. But it was after Norway had this great run. They got beaten by England, but they had this incredible run this year in soccer. And it turns out that not only are they in football or soccer, doing really well, but they've got the record in Winter Olympics medals, which they beat their previous record, 17 versus 16, the Winter Olympics prior. They have one of the top golfers in the world, Victor Hovland. They've got one of the top sprinters, Karsten Warholm. They have one of the top beach volleyball teams. They have a triathlete that has was given the highest VO2 max rating ever, whatever that is. It's something to do with his, like blood work or something. Anyhow, he's and then of course in soccer, they had a historic run, and the footballer who drives it, his name is Holland, is like a phenom on the global stage. So a lot of folks were wondering, and then when you look at soccer, and there's always like um a couple of teams that we say they can win it. And that they're all, from Europe, or they emerge out of Latin America, but especially Europe. And the thought with Norway was, oh, this is like in their genes. They, of course, Winter Olympics, it's Norway, but it's not. They have this thing called the Children's Rights in Sports model.
Mm.
It's a law. Under age 9, local club matches only. That you can't publish results lists, no league tables, no trophies. Age 11, regional competition begins, but scores and rankings are still prohibited. At age 13, it's the first year athletes can compete in anything resembling a national championship. Um, and 2 of the 8 codified rights are about developing mastery, how you play, not what the scoreboard says. And children have the right to choose. So no club, no team can prohibit any child through age 13 of playing any other sport. So while in the US, 70% of kids drop out by age 13 because they're burnt out and they're pushed really hard. No travel teams, no club, again, no club can block. Posting youth game results online can result in a fine. And the annual cost typically per child for any club is under $1,000 a year. And that's drastically different from the US. So they have 93% youth sports participation in Norway. That's about 40% higher than the US. And the thing is, a lot of people say, I heard this thing on, our media this weekend. Oh, we could never do it here. The funding, this and that. Okay. So they have a program called Norsk Tipping. Norway runs they have the only gambling. It's a gambling monopoly by the government, and the profits all go into sports. They go into rec teams, youth teams, facilities, coaching, and in soccer, the coaches have to have a FIFA and UEFA rating. So here, the club teams are focused on winning and making money, and it's a drastic difference. Now, I said tennis, but tennis has nothing to do with this. Sorry. So then I saw Landon Donovan, who was the last time we made it through in the World Cup, out of the groups. Landon Donovan, he still holds all the records for U.S. men's soccer. And he was saying that about, this was from a 2016 study, so it's gotten presumably worse.
Hmm.
2% of organized youth soccer players in the US come from households earning under $50,000 a year. So, where is it played? It's played in the suburbs, and then
Yep.
these clubs and the costs and everything keeps
Oh my
going
God.
up.
Totally. Yeah.
And so it's immediately like you start to see the picture here. At the same time, his words were, he played in Germany for a while, and all the best coaches are pushed to the youth. They want the youth to develop. They want a strong German team. Also, in Europe, the club teams, those professional teams, they all pay into the youth programs to develop the youth, because it's a
Right.
huge farm system. We
Yep.
don't have the equivalent of that,
Ugh.
but we also don't have the program. We have this collegiate program. Most soccer players drop out by the time they're 17, because that's when they start heading off to college. It's a short season in college. In Europe, the professional teams are already putting you into their own youth teams at 16 or 17, and it's a year-round development path. So his whole mission right now is we need to we need to change our mindset. And I couldn't help but be reminded of what you were saying, like the putting, we get driven by profit, we get driven by money, we get driven by this like success, and we're sort of mortgaging the future of our like, we want to dominate in sports and we want to be the USA, but at the same time we're shutting down women's sports programs in college. We're cutting high school sports programs all across,
It's
the US.
absurd. It's
And
grotesque.
it's just so, anyhow, it's a continuation of what could be better, but it's a big part of what I learned this week was how it's different everywhere else, and how we actually, I know like Alexei Lawless, who I'm not a fan of at all, he pushes back on this. Where's the money going to come from? Well, Norway contributes that program. That's $400 million a year. And now they're talking about not having a monopoly, letting private gambling stuff in and taking money from them to fund sports and give everybody, so they can continue to increase the funding and all of that. I'm not pro gambling or anything like that, but there are ways to do it. Like, it's not all bad. If you look at where I come from in New Hampshire, you can't buy alcohol unless it's in a state store.
Of
And
course, yes.
all of
It's,
that money
North Carolina
goes,
too, ABC.
yeah. And so it's like we do these things and we don't have a problem when it's something that we've inherited for a long time.
Yeah.
But we forget. It's like I don't want the government, doing this, or why do we need them in children's sports? And it's like they're in everything. And there's a place where they can solve some of these problems that we have. Anyhow, I think that's what I learned. I don't want to get on about any grievances here in this section, but
Wow. It's so interesting. I've been so concerned about, how even just it's sports, but it's all activities. So the high income households, they have their kids very active in a ton of activities and sports. They've got private tutors, they've got all kinds of stuff. The other kids who don't have all those resources and parental, presence are going online and watching YouTube and having their brains destroyed. So it's a big problem. Okay, so what did I learn? I have been doing more research on compassion mind training, which is an approach created by a neurobiologist, Paul Gilbert, in the UK. And it invokes a lot of the concepts of Buddhism, but it's not Buddhism. It's more about just training your mind and training your attention, and to kind of be aware of negative thoughts, rumination, stuff like that, and being able to stop it in place and pivot, and get out of your fight, flight, freeze, and all that kind of stuff. But I just think there's a lot of application to this, to education in general and many other sectors. And I've been doing a lot of research on it, and it's very interesting to me. And that's that.
cool. Folks that are watching might notice that your background changed. So when we suddenly shifted into this part of the conversation. And
Yeah, I had a change of venue because my laptop, I think it got too hot outside. I don't know. I had to come inside. So oh my gosh, that's like one of my favorites. Wah, 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 wah. That's
I have
awesome.
two. I have two. There's that one. That's the fancier one. And then I have
Okay. Sad trombone.
that's
Sad
right.
trombone.
That's
Love
right.
it. Love it.
Yeah.
You are leveling up the pod. I love it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ah, I don't know
That
about
one's
that
too
one.
fast. That one's too fast. It's oh my
Yeah.
God. Which
So it's just like a soundboard?
you can download sounds to like unlicensed sounds that you can put
Okay.
into the media list. It's basically a media board soundboard. Yeah.
It's like everything old is new again. Like, remember the Jerky Boys and like the early days of the internet, all those soundboards? Like, I just remember having the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like on the Howard Stern show, they would use anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. You made my day.
Thank you. All right. Good. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And we'll be back for episode 48.
Bye.
Bye.